Hi, it's Dave here. Welcome back to my channel, Vintage Toy Rush. And today I'm going to be unpacking my vintage Tomy Tron collection. So this is episode 2 of my Out of Storage series. So if you've been following my videos, I recently have moved rooms. All of my collection has been in storage. And now I've got my room sorted out and cabinets up. I'm slowly unpacking my collections that are in storage. So today it's Tron. So let's take a look at what's first. So Tron, if you're around in the 80s, was a film that was released in 82, and at the same time Tomy of Japan released a toy line, and this is one of the figures from that line. This is Flynn, and the story in Tron is that a computer programmer, Flynn, ends up getting beamed into a mainframe computer which is run by an evil master computer program, and basically Flynn has to work with the other programs in the mainframe to basically try and overcome the master control program and essentially escape from the mainframe back into reality. So these figures from Tomy are pretty neat actually. They're about 4 inches tall, similar size to the Ken of Star Wars. They are translucent, which is very nice, and they also have, to sort of mimic the style of Tron. If I zoom in, you should be able to see these piping lines on the body there, and they actually glow in the dark to give you the effect of the film. The film actually, I think, was probably one of the first to incorporate live action and computer animation. It was pretty much ahead of its time. It had pretty good reviews at the box office, pretty good reviews from the critics as well. But apparently at the Academy Awards, the film wasn't put forward for the best visual effects category, because the Academy actually deemed the use of computers as cheating, basically. So it was never put forward for best visual effects, which is a shame. The characters also come with an accessory. So this is the disc that also appears in the film. And if you look closely, I can't know where it is. Let's see if I can zoom in. I think it's on his leg. You should be able to see, is it this side or is it this side? Where is it? It's somewhere on here. Is it on the back? Yes, it's on the back, but I don't think you can actually see that clearly. It says copyright Walt Disney, and then on this side, Tomy Japan. So this is how you can tell an original back from the day from some of the re-releases that have occurred more recently, for example from NECA. So that's Flynn. And here we have Tron. So his purple translucent figure. Again, he's got the piping. You see the piping more clearly, and in many ways, he's very similar to Flynn. The sculpts are pretty similar. The colours and the piping is quite different. And if you're looking for these, then the main things to look out for are the wearing off of the piping. You want to try and find one where it's nice and clean. As I say, well, I don't know if I did actually say I believe these are only released in the US. So actually in the UK, in the 80s, I don't think kids were actually able to get these and play with them. You can get them on eBay. They do come up. I think they're getting more and more expensive. It's pretty hard to find a carded version. You do see them sometimes at the toy fairs, but prices of those are pretty high now. Now, the Master Control Program, the NCP, is first in command was a guy called Sark. This red guy, and he does have a different sculpt. His head sculpt is very different. It's more of a sort of angled helmet on him, but you can see the red translucent figure there. I realise the feel of these figures is very nice. They're solid. They have the same articulation as the Kenner Star Wars, 5 points of articulation, but they feel really solid. And they look pretty neat as well. And then Sark basically had an army of guards, warriors. It's also red. It's slightly darker than Sark, so that's how you can tell. Sark is a lighter orangey colour. And the guard, the warrior, is a darker colour. And shoulders are more sort of hunched up. And the warriors have a staff as their accessory, which glows in the dark, like the disc does for the eye characters. I should be able to hold this. There we go. Yeah, so that's the warrior. And I have a couple of duplicates of these, so it's another Tron. And another Sark. And that was basically all the figures that they did as part of the toy line. So there's only 4 figures that they released. But they did release some other vehicles to go with them. So if you've seen the film, you'll know that as part of the film, there are a number of games deadly games that the Master Control Program forced other programs to take part in if they did not obey with his rules. And probably the most famous deadly game was the light cycles. So here we have the yellow light cycle. This opens up, if I can remember how it opens up. Just check here. Here we go. This opens up. You can put a figure in, but I've found actually it's quite tight to get a figure in there, but that is the idea. The light cycle also came with a pull cord, which goes in the back wheel here. This way around, yep, this way around. And then you could pull this, and the back wheel goes spinning off, and you put it down, the light cycle goes spinning. Again, if you want to distinguish between an original and a later version, on the back of the light cycle here, you can see the Tomy mark, and probably on the other side it has the Walt Disney. Yes, it does. And of course you can't have just one light cycle in a race. You have to have at least 2. And they also produced a red version. It's exactly the same mould, just a different colour. I think the red one is actually slightly harder to find if you're wanting to collect these. You do see them, but because kids will have used the pull cord and had these things flying across the floor, you do often find these scuffed. So if you want a nice clean one, you need to probably look out for that. There we go. Now, unfortunately, the film probably didn't make as much money as was expected, and so there was only ever this series of toys released. It was only the first series. They never went ahead and made any other of the characters or the other vehicles. It would have been great to see maybe a tank or something like that as part of the series. But even so, this is a really nice line. You don't see it that often in the UK. There aren't that many items to collect the whole range, so it's a pretty nice one to go after. All right, so yeah, that's the Tomy Tron toy line. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you in the next video. See ya, bye.